HR fired the wrong person. No systems failed. No alarms went off. That's why it took months to realize the company was already collapsing. The termination happened quietly. No accusations. No confrontation. Just a short meeting, placed on Emily Carter's calendar by HR, and a checklist followed to completion. Operations program manager. 6 years with the company. Remote. East Coast. Emily wasn't a star employee in the traditional sense. She didn't dominate meetings or speak in buzzwords. She didn't campaign for promotions or volunteer for high-visibility projects. Most days, her calendar looked suspiciously empty. Her Slack status was usually set to away. On paper, she was easy to overlook. When leadership announced a headcount reduction, HR needed names. Not explanations. Not nuance. Just names. Emily's manager hesitated. Maybe 10 seconds. She's solid, he said carefully, but not very visible. That was enough. Emily took the news calmly. She asked about health coverage. She confirmed her final paycheck. She returned her equipment the same day. Her goodbye message was short. Wishing you all the best. Nothing broke. That's why no one worried. For the first month, everything looked fine. Dashboards stayed green. Reports went out on time. Leadership congratulated HR for executing a clean and efficient reduction. The company moved on. Then the small things started slipping. A vendor escalation took 3 days longer than usual. No one panicked. A regional rollout stalled with no clear owner. Mild annoyance. A compliance check failed because no one remembered which exception applied. Each issue was minor. Individually ignorable. Collectively, they formed something harder to name. By the end of month 2, managers were spending more time explaining delays than fixing them. Meetings multiplied. Emails grew longer. Slack threads went in circles. Everyone felt busy. Nothing felt productive. People blamed transition pain, growing pains, market pressure. No one blamed the layoff. Not yet. By month 3, the symptoms were impossible to ignore. Projects that once moved smoothly now required constant escalation. Decisions stalled because no one felt confident making them. Teams argued over ownership of problems that hadn't existed before. A senior director finally ordered a full process audit. External consultants were brought in. They interviewed teams, reviewed documentation, mapped workflows. After weeks of analysis, they delivered their conclusion. The systems are fine, they said. The documentation is complete, but the decision logic is missing. The room went quiet. Someone said her name out loud for the first time in months. Emily. She hadn't just run operations. She had been the silent decision layer. Over 6 years, Emily had learned which vendors needed pressure and which needed patience, which rules could bend without risk, which edge cases weren't worth escalating, and which would quietly explode if ignored. None of that lived in dashboards. None of it was written down. It lived in her judgment. HR pulled her file again. Her performance reviews were excellent. Her risk assessments had been accurate. Her forecasts had quietly saved the company millions. She was never promoted because she never asked. She was never recognized because she never self-advertised. She was fired because she didn't look important. Leadership tried to fix the damage. They hired replacements, then managers to supervise the replacements, then consultants to manage the managers. Costs increased. Decision speed dropped. Clients noticed, not loudly, not publicly. They simply didn't renew contracts. No headlines, no scandal. Just revenue quietly leaking away. 6 months after her termination, leadership finally reached out to Emily. The message was polite, casual, curious. She replied with a single sentence: "I'm happy where I am now." By the end of the year, the company blamed market headwinds in its annual report. Inside the organization, everyone knew the truth. HR didn't fire a bad employee. They fired the one person holding everything together, and the company didn't collapse loudly. It just slowly stopped working, and no one knew how to fix it anymore.